Okay, so real quick before we start the video, my microphone, as you will see, was not cooperating this day. It's wobbling, it was shaking, I'm holding it. I know you can see me holding it, but listen, let's not pay attention to the mic. Let's pay attention to the message. All right, let's get started.
Hey guys, welcome to Checkyamental with Jay. This is a visual podcast where I speak the importance of mental health in today's society, or where I share my own personal stories. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and never miss when I post another video. Listen, y'all, it's been a while since I've been on here, and not for nothing, I really miss making my videos, but you know, life be lifing. So girl, I had to take some time. But I'm back, and today I want to talk about one of the trending topics right now, which is Clay and AD from season 6 of Love is Blind. For those who don't know, first of all, if you watch Love is Blind, you already know what I'm about to touch on. If you don't watch Love is Blind though, quick recap. So, Clay and AD is a black couple that was on season 6 of Love is Blind, right? They made it towards the end of the whole experiment. Okay, now, Clay was making it seem like, you know, he was about to marry AD, they get to the altar, all this, all that. And so the whole world's mad at him because they're like, oh, he was walking red flags, he was this, he was that. And yes, throughout the show, he was giving red flag vibes, like, she don't see that, and she don't, However, though, there is an important message in this whole season when it comes to Clay, and that's what I want to touch base on because it has a lot to do with mental health and family trauma. My personal reaction to the whole show, well, not to the whole show, but to the AD and Clay part, when they were about to get married and he decided that he didn't want to marry her no more. Now, when he had that girl walk up to that altar, just for him to tell her he wasn't ready, I wanted to jump through that TV and plunge. I wanted to jump through that TV and punch Clay right between his eyes. Because what are you talking about, right? And as a woman, you know, I sympathize with AD. I know the door's not about to start working right now. Sorry. Now, as a woman, I sympathize with AD, right? Because it's like, yo, you waited till I got all the way to the altar, ready to marry you, before you decide to embarrass me in front of all my family, my friends, your family, your friends, and tell me you don't want to get married? Oh, you bugging. You bugging. You played yourself. And now I was rooting for them, right? Because AD, she looked good. Clay, he's very handsome, you know. He got his ducks in a row. She seemed like she got her ducks in a row. So I was rooting for them. So when he told this girl he didn't want to marry her, blew mine. But now, little background story. Clay had a lot of family trauma, especially when it came to marriage, because like he explains in the show, he watched his dad cheat on his mom. And what he didn't want to do was become a cheater. He didn't want to get into a marriage and then have to cheat on this girl. And at first I was like, just like everybody else, I was like, why is that what he's so focused on? Cheating on her? Like, you were... Alright. Like, AD, if you don't see that, and clearly he a playboy and he want to still be out there doing his thing, he ain't ready to get married. But then he goes on to explain how... with his father, you know, cheating, he was actually involved. Like, he would be out with his dad and, you know, whoever the girl was that he was cheating on the mom with, or, you know, whatever. And so that caused him to look at marriage in a different light. Or I guess he was kind of tainted by having experienced that with his dad on his whole view of marriage, right? He wanted to, even though he wanted to be a husband, right? Because he did state many times that he wanted to be a husband. And he even said it like on some podcast that, you know, he went on the show with intent to be a husband. But because of how quick the whole experience was, when I think it was only 6 weeks, he was saying, he didn't feel like there was enough time for him to get to know her and, you know if that's really his wife. And I get that. Okay, cool. Now, when the show first aired, whatever, and everybody was watching it, I had the same opinion as everybody else. I'm like, oh, nah. He played her. He knew what he was doing. Like, why would he even do, like, come on, Clay. For real? Like, don't be that guy. Like, don't be that guy to make it, this is what black men do. Like, don't be that guy. Like, I was very much like on the let's hate Clay team. Very much so. Until I started watching him on podcasts and, some of his interviews. And as he and his mom would like dig deeper into what that family trauma was for him, I was like, ooh, I might have to cut Clay a little slack. And here's why. It's very rare that men speak on how their father shaped the way they look at relationships, right? Or how their parents' dynamic shaped the way how they look at relationships. And so for Clay to come out and be like, listen, yes, I want to be a husband, but there's some things I have to work through in order for me to feel like I can fully be that for somebody. I commend him. I commend him 100% now, because now I get it, right? I'm like, okay, well, yes, he did play her. He did. However, was he wrong for saying no if he wasn't ready? You know what I'm saying? Was he wrong for saying no if he wasn't ready? Because it's like, okay, so he would have gotten a relationship with her. They would have been married, and then what? He would have felt like he needed to cheat, and then it would have been bad for her, and it would have been bad for him, right? So why are we even starting that? You know what I'm saying? Why are we even going there? So I get it. Now, here's where family trauma part plays in that. Now, Clay made it very clear that how, being involved in his father's cheating was what tainted his view on marriage. And now, personally, I can say, you know what? I see what he means. Because now from my personal experience, right? My parents were married for 24 years, 25 years, and got divorced. Now, I watched how quick it was for my dad to move on. And I was like, oh, wow. Just like that? That's crazy. So how important was them 20-something years that you spent with my mother? You know what I'm saying? Like how meaningful was them years to you that it was that easy? You know what I'm saying? And did I look at relationships on a whole differently? Maybe not. But it did kind of shape the way I thought about marriage. As far as I could be with somebody for 40 years. If I decide I'm going to pick up and leave, I'm going to pick up and leave. And then after that, my life still goes on. You know what I'm saying? Or like, another thing that I started to think about was, well, how important is marriage? Exactly, right? Because not only just my personal experience with my parents, but let me tell you something. The amount of married men that's out here, the amount of married men that's out here that's moving real single through these streets, it makes you wonder, like, how important is marriage? Because I'm not gonna lie, I even question myself, like, you want to be married? I don't know. Like, because past the glitz and the glam and the fairy tale part that all women want to go through, right? The buying of the dress and the rocking the ring, ooh, 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 and the what you call it? And the planning and the bridesmaids and the this and the that, and the once all that is done, like, are you really prepared for marriage? Like, is marriage really like a thing that you see yourself? Back to Clay. I can see how that tainted his look on marriage. I see it. I believe that, yes, even though that was his parents' story, though, that don't mean that's your story. And I felt like he kept pushing that narrative a little bit too hard. Like, oh, because I see my parents, oh, because... And I get it, right? Yeah, you seen your parents go through it, but that doesn't mean that's your story. And then his mother mentioned that in one of the podcasts that they did. She was like, even though that was me and his dad's story, I don't want him to take that along with him in his experiences when it comes to finding a wife. And I had to agree with her. Because listen, your parents' story is not going to be your story. How they started, how they ended up, what happened, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what's going to happen to you. So I really feel like, okay, yeah, I get it. But at the same time, was it that severe that you're like, nah, because it's going to be the same thing that happened to me? Or I don't know. Was he kind of using that a little bit as a crutch? I don't know. But I did give him grace after I realized, okay, so this was just deeper than him saying he wasn't ready. And then even if, right, he wasn't ready, how are you ready to marry somebody, a lifetime commitment, for somebody that you only know for 6 weeks? So I get it. He's like, nah, like, I don't know if I'm ready for marriage, but I still want to date you. Now, where he went wrong was that he embarrassed her. Maybe how he did that, like, in the back end and was like, listen, I'm not even going to take you up there to say no. But listen, I still want us to date. I still want us to carry this on, just not without the cameras and all that. Like, let's see me and you, because I really do feel you. Then maybe that would have been different. But he straight played her. That's a form of rejection. She ain't going back to him. She ain't gonna go back to him. And I know she's not gonna go back to him, A, because of the form of rejection, and B, because she feel like everybody who watched will judge her if she go back to that boy. Even though in her not her podcast, but on podcast interviews she did, she stated how she still love him. She stated how she still find him attractive. So it's like, all right, shorty, in the back of your mind, you would give him another chance. But you're not gonna do it because everybody's watching. Whatever. But that's a thing. Anyway. So yeah, I just wanted to come on here today, y'all, and give my 2 cents about the whole Clayton 80 situation and how I commend him for manning up, being vulnerable, and taking accountability for the fact that, listen, yes, I know how it looked on TV was real crazy, like I did that girl dirty up there. But at the same time, I have things I have to work on. I have traumas I have to, work through in order for me to be that husband that she needs. Because she, according to him, was so gung-ho on being a wife. If the boy don't feel like he's ready to be a husband, what good was that going to do her anyway? You know what I'm saying? So, listen, hats off to Clay, again, for being vulnerable. And, putting, his whole family situation out there so that other black families can see that, listen, parents, knock, knock. Sometimes the things that have taken place in front of your children, they can grow up with that as a trauma. Let's be clear, because that's what we fail to realize, right? As parents, you feel like maybe you shield a lot of things from your kids, right? And there's some parents who just don't care. But at the same time, it's like, do you ever think, damn, how would that affect my kids in the long run? Or like seeing this happen, like how would that affect, how my kid might look at me or look at the world, the outside world, or look at marriage, or look at dating, or look at if I'm cheating on her mom. Like, would my daughter ever think that being with a man who doesn't cheat was not right? Or like, oh, expect your man to cheat on you because you watch your father cheat on your mom the whole time? Or, oh, I beat on my wife. Is it okay for me to be beating on her in front of my daughter so my daughter can see that any man who doesn't hit her don't love her? Like, y'all gotta think about stuff like that. Like, come on. Like, I personally, like, there's certain things I know in my life that I will never do or showcase in front of my daughter so that she thinks that is okay. You know what I'm saying? And that goes for anything. Like, listen, I walked away from a relationship just because I know that wasn't healthy. And I'd rather my daughter see me by myself healthy and see what a strong woman is by herself healthy than in a relationship where she's watching combativeness and she's watching this and that. And because I don't want her to think that that's normal. You know what I'm saying? So there's certain things, parents, that you got to think about when it comes to your kids and passing on that generational trauma, because that's where kids pick up things from their parents, from their household. When we're born into a family. That's where we learn to love. That's how we learn how to speak. That's how we learn how to, what walk we're gonna walk. That's how we learn all our core values is from our family. It's from our parents. So just keep that in mind, parents, right? No parent is perfect. Nobody is perfect, right? Sometimes parents is just figuring out themselves too, honestly. But keep that in the back of your mind that depending on what you display in front of your kids, that can be something that they take with them for years to come. Something that you don't even expect with that, oh, right now I'm doing it in front of them and they just a kid. But 20 years from now, that pops up as a trauma for her or for him. Think about that. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna wrap up this video. This was real quick, and I just wanted to come on here and put my little 2 cents in, because I noticed, everybody was putting their little 2 cents on this little razzle dazzle, and I was like, you know what? Actually, I got something to say, especially when it comes to trauma and the whole mental health background. Y'all know that's my thing, so I'm gonna speak on it. Period. So So anyway, y'all, I'ma go. Thank you so much for taking your time out to watch my video. Like I said, I know it's been a while since you guys see me, but I'm gonna try. My heart is to stay consistent. I know y'all heard that before too, but listen, bear with me. But anyway, y'all, thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for when I post another video. Bye.